Yo, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Josh over here with American AF Dumpster Rentals. I have got some
I can't see any comments.
audio stuff going on right
Oh,
now, so
there
give
they
me
are.
1 second. But hey, so thanks for coming. Thanks for joining the live stream today. If you guys are on here and you guys can hear me okay, please hit the comments. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Please let me know in the comments that you can hear me okay. I had some audio going on. But anyways, thank you guys all for coming. We got another awesome Wednesday live stream for everybody, man. I hope everybody's week was really good. This week was probably one of my best weeks so far since I got the roll-offs. It's been nonstop, so I'm super excited about this week and kind of where what's going to be going on in the future weeks. So at least even in the end of the week, I mean, I've got a lot of bookings coming up. So things have been kind of hectic, but hey, I signed up for it, right? So today, obviously, I have posted. We've got Justin with Life's Apprentice here. I'm gonna bring him on in about 10 seconds, but I wanted to go over a couple things real quick. First of all, I am wearing a new American AF hat, and it's pretty cool. So I only have like 5 left. So if anybody wants one, just let me know. I'll give it to you guys at cost plus shipping. Shipping did cost me a little bit, so I sent the last ones out of FedEx, and it cost me like $15, which is insane. So I'll go to the Postal Service, and do it. Um, but what else we got? So next week I announced it last week, but for those of you guys that weren't watching last week, I have these guys. So check it out. I've got Sonoma Hauling, Matt and JoJo with Sonoma. What is it called? Sonoma. What is it called? Sonoma guys. They are the junk removal guys, the couple. They are awesome. I've heard some really good things about them. And one of my main questions was, does he talk like he normally does on the videos? Does he talk like that in real life? But apparently he does. So I'm super excited to have him on the channel. We shall see how he talks. So it's kind of cool. I'm excited about having him on there, kind of giving a different feel. I mean, we always talk about dumpsters and trash and dump trailers, but they're more of obviously the junk removal. They've got a really cool truck, and I mean they've got the branding down, the marketing down. They've got the teamwork down. So excited to have them on next week. Kind of go over and introduce junk removal to the channel that we haven't done yet. I also did a video this last week with some guys. I forgot what they were called too. When I'm on the spot, I usually forget stuff, but I should have had it written down. But I did a video with some guys, an interview with some guys, and I will be posting their video here soon. They kind of interviewed me, which was a different thing for their channel. But I think it was called New Money Game. New Money Game. So that channel, that video should come out soon. But again, so we're about to get started. Don't forget to give me, after this heck of a terrible intro, don't forget to give me a like, smash that notification bell on the channel. Go over to Justin's channel over at Life's Apprentice. Make sure you give him a like. Make sure you follow, subscribe to his channel, and smash that notification bell so that you guys are notified when we post a new video. And without further ado, actually before I do, again, if you're in the live stream and you're watching guys on YouTube, please go ahead and give me a shout out in the comments. Kind of introduce yourself. Tell me where you're from, and if we don't already know you, we've got some recognizable names here. And let me bring on Justin. There's a clap and everything. I love that clap. What's up, Justin? How are you, man?
And I'm here for the live stream. I'm excited. I
Nice,
hope
man.
that don't take it easy on me in the comments with the questions. I know I'm guilty in the live stream of asking extremely tough, hard questions, and I expect out of every single one of you to ask me some very tough questions when we're all said and done. But I'm looking forward to this live stream. This one's a little bit more planned than anything I've been a part of, and the reason for that is because of what we're getting into. We want to have an idea and a timeline so that we can put a good show on for you guys and make this valuable.
At the end of the day, if it's not valuable, why am I muted? What in the world? All right, can you hear me now?
I could hear you the whole time.
Dang, I don't know what's going on. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, if it's not value, I mean, if the content's no good, we're just here wasting our time, man. I get it, what you're saying. So, what is the noise? Do you guys hear that? We got some weird noise going on. All right. So today, what we are bringing the channel is we're going to change it up a little bit. I do want to see as many questions as you guys can possibly ask, but we're going to hold off on all the questions until the end. We're just going to go over kind of making it more of an educational show, right, Justin? I mean, kind of more educational as far
Yeah.
as Justin kind of brought it up to me like let's do another one together, but let's go ahead and focus on a couple things instead of just kind of willy nilly it like we like to do over here at Trash to Cash. But I mean, it makes a good point. Like we want to give you guys as much content and to get you guys ready if you're not already, or hopefully to help you out. And if not, hopefully you guys can help us out in return, man, and give us some tips because we're not. I don't know it all. I know that's for sure. I mean, I'm still learning too, man.
Yeah, yeah, and then this is not like completely planned or staged, but we do have an itinerary and we have some basically bullet points that we can go off of. The rest is going to be us explaining marketing and branding, advertising your dumpster business, and that's I know for me that's like one of the number one questions that I get, and it's something that's really hard to answer in a 10-15 minute video, and it varies. I mean, me and Josh have talked about it. We have literally made our businesses doing complete opposite things. So until I actually just started Facebook because of you, Josh, but until I did that, me and you did absolutely nothing the same when it came to marketing. Now we have done some similar things as far as branding, but there's so many options and so many different ways to do it. And so it's something that's really hard to just put out there and explain just like, this is how you do it. And, if you're not doing this, you're not doing it right. There's so many ways to do it, and keep that in mind. And in my notes, the first thing that I want to say to everybody, and Josh will totally agree with this, when it comes to marketing and branding, nothing is a guarantee. Absolutely nothing is a guarantee. So you have to try a lot of different things, find out what works for you, and just understand that you're going to fail and some things are going to work better than others. Marketing is a tricky game depending on where you are, how you're doing it, and I guess your skill level in marketing. You can make a really great Facebook ad or another sort of ad and it works great. You could also make a really bad ad and do the exact same thing and it works terribly.
Yeah, so I've kind of that's something that I've definitely learned over the years. 100% though is that um, there's and that's something I've been trying to stress on this channel. Like I really don't want people to think that it's just a overnight success or you can easily just make a ton of cash. It's just not that way. You've got to work at it and you've got to work hard. And there's a ton of different options that you can do as far as advertising and what may work for me or what may work for you may not be working in my area or your area. And we're going to go over a couple things that I know you do that I don't do or that I tried and it just didn't work for me. Not that it was a bad thing, but maybe in my area it just didn't it's not as popular. So we're going to give you guys as many things as we can that we do and just pick some. And again, if it doesn't work, don't expect just because you run one ad for 3 days and you don't get a phone call that it doesn't work. That's not the way it works either, though. I mean, you got to try it out for a little while. I'm not saying spend a whole boatload of money, but you've got to try things out for a little while. Give it 30 days, give it 2 weeks or 30 days, and then if it works, great. And even if your return is just one booking and you spent a little bit of money, but it's not about the instant return, in my opinion. It's more about the long term gain, right? Because you know in advertising, when you're paying for, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth, but when you're paying for advertising, your ROI is more long term. You want to think about that customer long term, and you're hoping that you can gain more customers from just that one. So if you spend $50 or even $100 to gain that customer, you're not losing money. You're breaking even. Well, at least you got that customer, and hopefully you can get more customers off that person. Am I right, Justin?
Absolutely. And you have to think like maybe you didn't make any money off that one phone call, but your dumpster sitting there, if it's branded properly, which a lot of people are making this mistake, um, if it's branded properly, by spending that $100 to get that one customer, by putting it in their driveway, it might get you 2 or 3 other calls, or none, or 10. Who knows? Or 3 weeks from now, you're setting it at the neighbors because they saw it there. So it does go deeper, and this is where we get into like the branding side of it. But you can spend money on marketing that's bad. As far as branding goes, I don't think you really can spend bad money on branding unless you're branding bad. But you have to understand that when you're putting money in there for marketing, some of it is going to be bad, some of it's going to be good, and until you do that, you'll never know. So until you realize what bad marketing is, unless somebody told you not to do it, you'll never know until you try it.
So let's go ahead and let's get the ball rolling here. Let's break it up a little bit though, because we're throwing three different words out there, and they're not all the same. So we have
Correct.
advertising, then we have marketing, and then we have branding. Let's go ahead and start with advertising first. Justin, what would you say, you know, advertising is, and what would you say the difference between, real quick? I mean, you don't have to go into detail, but the difference between advertising and marketing.
Well, advertising and branding and marketing are all similar and different in different ways. Advertising is and marketing, in my opinion, is more or less just getting your name out to what you think is your potential customer. And with your service, whether it be roofing or dumpsters or your cleaning or whatever, um, getting your name out to those customers that you provide the service that they're potentially looking for.
So the way I've always kind of looked at it, okay, I agree 100%. I'm saying, so to me, advertising is something that I could do right now, and that would yield a return on investment, hopefully back within 30 days, 90 days. It all depends on what your goal is. But to me, advertising is something that I could do right now. Um, that can cost me more money, significantly more money than even branding or marketing, but I hopefully will get a return that's equal to or obviously greater. My goal is to make as much as I can. Um, so that's the way I look at advertising, right? Again, and then you've got marketing, which could be more of a long term kind of play, and then branding is definitely just, um, branding is McDonald's, branding is Nike, branding is just do it, right? It's the M over the logo over the sign over McDonald's. Um, to me, that's what obviously branding is. It's where you know long term, people remember your company name or what your company does, because of that constant kind of, whether it be from some advertising or whether it be some subliminal messages in commercials or whatever it may be, or just our trucks being wrapped out there. You know what I'm saying? Constantly, people see it and they say, "Oh, hey, look, I remember that Greenhead company." Uh, so. Um, but there's a difference. And as far as advertising is concerned, I'm paying for advertising, and it's usually I'm paying, and I want an immediate result. And if I brand, it's more of a very long term play. It's not exactly the same. And with branding, it could be a one time expense or it could be an ongoing expense.
I agree. I think marketing is advertising and branding put together over a longer period of time. Most of the people that ask me questions and have started this business recently, I think don't understand that. They understand the advertising and they want quick results, but they're not thinking into the future. Um, Advertising and marketing are the same, right? You but you need a little bit of a brand to back that up, right? If you don't have a brand and you're just Joe Schmo, you can't properly market. You can only advertise. You can't brand that way either. So advertising, step number one, when you're starting, you have to advertise. Second of all, you have to create a brand. Okay. When you advertise with a brand, you're marketing. That's the way that I feel about it.
So HHP put in the comments here, and I'm gonna post it up right now, even though. So he made a good point that marketing is like sponsoring a local sports team or an event in your name. Yeah, and but it's also branding, right? Because if you make a sign and you put that logo of your company, your H&H company, then you're also in that same concept. You're also branding because you want people to remember your logo, right? Or you want them to remember your name. Take a picture, have a QR code or something like that. But very, very good point. So let's talk about let's go a little more into depth on advertising, because a lot of the guys, right, that are starting out, me too. I mean, we want to see money and results right away. I mean, we put all this money up front, okay, and we're not really concerned about having people remember about us 5 years down the road, because honestly, if we don't make money now, we won't be here 5 years from now, right? So let's talk about advertising more, okay? So let's give me some examples of what you do to advertise, and then I'll throw some in there as well. But advertise like short term.
Obviously, like if you're starting out, we got on all of the free, websites or listings that you can get on Yelp, Bing, Yahoo, Google, Yellow Page. I mean, there's a bunch. So you just have to go look up and get a business listing on all those. That's number one. Go and get as many as you can. Start just a crappy website, just anything. Just get yourself a domain name, ideally with your business name. Get yourself a domain name. Start a crappy website at first. You can always change it. The next, you have to get on Google Maps, which requires you to apply for it, and then they'll send you like a verification code. Usually it's a postcard. And then you can get on Google Maps. That way, if somebody looks up dumpsters near me, you'll have one of those little red balloons on the map. That's extremely important. And by doing all these things, it'll automatically help your SEO or help you rank better on Google. The other thing is try to get as many reviews as you can. That's unpaid. Okay. As far as paid, we do hometowndumpsterrental.com, which has changed a little bit. It used to be $9 per phone call. It's changed. I'm going to be doing a video with Scott at Hometown Dumpster Rentals. I've already done one. You can go back and look at that on my channel, but I'm going to be doing another one because they've changed their business model. That one's worked really well for us. I've heard mixed results from other people, but that one has been huge for us. So the next one is Nextdoor. We've done Nextdoor. It's a hyper local type site. It's free for homeowners and stuff like that, and then they charge for businesses like myself. We pay a couple $100 a month, but it gets us into certain zip codes, so we can be really strategic about how we go about it. Josh actually got me into Facebook. So we're doing $5 a day roughly on Facebook. It's been a week. We had 10,000 views. I think like 12 clicks or 9 page views, something like that. We can't translate that into sales at this point, but in a week, we spent $35, $5 a day in 7 days, and we're getting lots of looks, which is all I care about. I just want looks. Okay. The next one is, and I say this on my channel, if marketing is maybe not your strong suit, maybe you should hire somebody. So I got to the point where I wasn't really sure what to do. I'm not an internet wizard. I'm not an SEO guy. So I hired an SEO guy to do SEO work for us. Now we're paying him on results. So we're paying him 5% of total sales. And that has worked out just unbelievably well for us. And we just got new dumpsters and we're expounding on what he's already started. And he's really good at what he does. Lots of people like him. He's not the only one out there that can do it. So if you guys are looking for somebody like this, you need to, shop around. And I recommend paying for results. Okay. And that's what we do with him. He gets me calls where I want, when I want, how I want. And he's just really good at it. And he's kind of been a game changer. I wish that I could replicate him to help my subscribers. But you guys got to go find him, people like him for yourself. But that's the majority of what we do. Now, as far as marketing, we've sponsored events. We have giant stickers on our dumpsters. Everyone knows that watches me. The number one thing you can do is put gigantic lettering and numbers on your dumpsters. Number one thing, guaranteed. Wrapping the truck, is that completely necessary? No. That's more of a branding thing than, getting phone calls. But, I have had phone calls off the wrap for sure. And
I got one yesterday. He was a little upset that I cut him off in traffic. I didn't see the guy.
Yeah.
So that's the only downfall of having your truck wrapped. Yeah. They can easily call you and kind of give you a piece of their mind right then and there.
Yeah. Obviously, business cards.
Yep.
If you're starting a business, go to Vistaprint, get some business cards. It's like $10 for 500. We all wear shirts. We have shirts and sweatshirts, that we all wear. That helps you look professional and, like you're a real business. And I mean, if you're going to do this and take it seriously, you are a real business. And that's something that you should have, in my opinion.
Definitely. So let me go back on a couple things. Okay. So you had some good points, obviously, as far as different listings and directories that you want to make sure that you're on. So here's a couple tips on how I would have done it, or I've done it in other businesses. I still have to find time to do it for this business, but so far I haven't really needed to, just that much. But what I've done is I've gone to, if we were talking about website, right? We're talking about website right now and directories and how to get your name out there immediately without, and hopefully getting your phone ringing without going and putting boots on the ground, which is another strategy. But I'm talking about websites. What I've done is I will go and I will Google dumpsters near me or whatever business you're in, okay? And I'll look at the top 2 or 3 companies in your market. Then I'm going to go to all the other major, well, I'm in a big metroplex, obviously, right? DFW is huge. So I'm going to go to like the other major cities. I'm going to go like Chicago, Miami, New York, San Francisco, places like that, right? And then what I'll do is I'll do the same thing. And I'll Google whatever industry I'm looking at, whatever website I'm working on, dumpsters in Chicago, dumpsters in Miami, Orlando, whatever. And what I'll do is I'll take those 3 top websites, right? And I'll start looking at them, and I'll do a reverse search on the website, and I'll see how many links go back to that domain or that website. It's really simple to do. All you got to do is type in the company name or type in the URL into Google without the .com or in parentheses, right? You'll see how many other websites name that company in their websites, okay? Listings or directories. And then what I'll do is I'll copy all of them, or I'll go into those listings one by one. It's a very manual process, but I guarantee you it pays out in the end. Is I'll go into every one of those directories and I'll put in a free listing. I won't pay for any of them. Don't pay for them because a lot of them will, they almost all have a free option. And then they'll give you another option if you want to pay $30, $15, whatever it may be. I wouldn't do any of that, but you're getting free backlinks to your website, okay? And that's really good for Google SEO, okay, which means search engine optimization, okay? That's going to be the first thing that I do when I'm trying to get a website to rank up.
Justin, your payment is your email.
Huh?
I said your payment is your email address on those free listings. That's all they want.
You're not expecting, and let me make something really, really clear. You're not expecting anybody to call you from seeing your listing on 123abcdirectory.com. Okay, it's not going to happen. What you're doing in exchange for your time is a link back to your website that will rank your website just a little bit higher. And then the more that you do it, the higher it goes. In my limo company, I think I've got over like 6,000 backlinks, and it's not all that I've done manually. Sometimes you'll put one in a major one, and they'll give you multiple backlinks back. But it's all about those backlinks, right? It's all about getting your website to rank higher. Um, and then what I'll do, that's with the SEO. He also mentioned Google My Business. Uh, a lot of you guys got shot down, stricken, got your Google My Business removed. There was a big conversation, Justin. I don't know if you heard about it, man, on the Dumpster Rentals 101 page, and a lot of other industries that at first we didn't know, and people were kind of like, maybe it's just in our group that somebody's kind of flagging us, and it didn't end up being that. It's just that I'm 90% sure Google did an algorithm change, and they changed their guidelines, or they made them more strict as far as what's allowed in the Google My Business. And a lot of guys got their Google My Businesses suspended. Not saying they did anything wrong, but I'm pretty sure they probably did something wrong. It was either something caused that red flag to happen, whether it was that the listing wasn't verified, whether it was that the address wasn't a legit address, whether it was that they were using maybe a PO box, or not even a PO box, but those mailbox places instead of an actual physical address, or whether it be that Google My Business didn't think they were a legitimate business for some reason. So they got their listing suspended, and it's hurt a lot of the guys in the industry. So my biggest suggestion for that, though, is you cannot always have your eggs all in one basket. And a lot of the guys are saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive this, because almost 90% or even 100% of their business came from their one Google My Business listing. And that's where you've got to spread out. You've got to have your website and your company in as many different places as you possibly can. That way, so if something like this does happen, which it happens regularly, you're not that affected. You may lose 10%, 15% of your business for now temporarily, but you'll get that back. If you have all your eggs in one basket and one listing, it could shut you down. So there's my advice on that. Justin also mentioned Facebook. Justin, I'm gonna show you one. I'm gonna tell you one more thing, and I don't know if you know. I'm sure you probably do, but the next golden nugget of once you do your ads on Facebook, just very inexpensively. I think you said you're paying $5 a day.
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty inexpensive. I mean, anybody can afford that, right? You take another $5 and you run retargeting ads. If you're starting to get a little bit of traffic on your website, okay, you can link your website to Facebook, right? And there's a way to do it with Google Pixels or Facebook Pixels, and it's pretty simple to do. You just got to Google how to do it, and anybody can kind of do it if you're managing your own website and you have a Facebook. You can put this pixel on your ads and on your website, and you can run a Facebook ad to people who have been onto your website but never got to the checkout window or the checkout page, or people that have been to your website and they saw multiple pages and then they left, or you can have them. You can go down as granular as they saw a 20-yard dumpster, and you can send them an ad for a specific 20-yard dumpster because they were on your 20-yard dumpster page. Just kind of reminding them, hey, it happens all the time when you're Googling something and you're looking at a lawnmower or something. You're on Facebook a day or two later and you're seeing ads for lawnmowers. That's what this is. It is Facebook retargeting. It's very inexpensive to do. You can set your own budget, and honestly, it works even better, in my opinion, than just trying to advertise to a certain area on Facebook that lives in your community or something like that. Golden.
Sure. Yeah. So you're targeting that 1 out of 1,000 that actually maybe clicks or calls you or price checks or is looking in. But I guess those are the most important people because
they have to have gone onto your website.
Yeah.
They have to have,
they're the most important people.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And especially if you have, and again, this is not a plug, but if you have a system like DRS that has a checkout page, I can target just the people who went all the way to the checkout page but didn't check out, right? I can send them an ad. And say, hey, I noticed that you got to the checkout page, but you didn't actually get to the thank you page, right? Because that's the next page once they pay. So you got to the checkout page. I noticed that you were looking at our dumpsters. Here's what I want to do to earn your business today. I will give you a 10% off discount. Type this code into DRS or type this code into this link that I'm gonna put for you, and you get 10% discount, and then you're getting that customer right back. So uh, I could talk all day about Facebook targeting, man. I love it, and there's so many cool features. You can go by. I can target people who make over $100,000 a year, or that are high income people that have 3+ children that their kids play soccer. I mean, you can't believe the amount of information we give Facebook and the amount of information Facebook sells to companies like us so that we can target to the right customer.
That's exactly why I don't have Facebook.
I don't blame you, man. I told you
But
somebody
I'll,
reached
I'll
out to me
market the
today.
hell out of it. Yeah, I'll advertise and market the hell out of it, but that's exactly why I don't have it.
Yeah.
But I like what we've seen so far. I think it's what, 8 days in, maybe something like that. We've stayed on track about $5 a day, because $5 a day is like in general. So some days were $4, some days were $7. But I mean, we've gotten in 7 days in front of 10,000 people. And we've had like a dozen clicks on the website. So, like I said, it makes it kind of hard to track actual sales, just because without asking the customer where they found us or whatever, you won't really know. But having 12 clicks on a website tells me that we probably got one rental out of it at the very least, maybe more. And for $5 a day, that's very money well spent.
So how do you track that? The only way that you're going to be able to track that, like you said, without asking a customer where they found you at, and hopefully they remember, because a lot of times they're like, oh, the internet. Um, the best way to do that is having a software like Docket. I think Docket even does it, or DRS for sure. Is in your ad that you run on Facebook, you just tell them, a 5% discount is not going to kill you, and to be able to know where you're getting your customers from. So you say, enter in this code for a 5% discount, and then you know exactly that person, that code that you ran, FB, for Facebook 2021, whatever it may be. You know that it was an ad that you ran on Facebook, and you gave them a 5% discount, but at least now you have a targeted customer. So, and if you're only paying 5% to gain a customer or whatever it may be, I mean that's pretty cheap for customer acquisition, right? You're paying. Sometimes you're paying a lot more than that if you're doing Google Ads or any of that other stuff.
I agree. I agree and I disagree. I think for some people that may be okay, but by paying, say, I get one call for $35 in a week, um, I'm already paying the $35 for that customer, and then by giving them a discount, that's not the way that we do business. I'm not saying that you can't or shouldn't. But our prices are already basically the lowest or the most competitive in our market. So when they call us, they're getting a discount, whether they know it or not. And this is something that I think a lot of people maybe make a mistake on. Um, I would rather not know where that phone call is coming from, because I'm marketing in 7 different places. I would rather not know where that phone call is coming from than give everyone a discount.
It's not
That's my
everybody though.
personal opinion.
Remember, it's not everybody.
No,
And
no,
no,
no. And I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to be, um, to ruffle any feathers or
oh
anything.
no,
That's the way that I feel.
no, I get you. I get you. But if you can't track it, in my opinion, if you can't track it, it's almost not worth spending the money. At least the way I look at it, I have to be able to track what's working and what's not. And it doesn't have to be a discount. Even it could be, you know, I don't know, for this price or for this, entering this code for a free T-shirt or I don't know, an extra day on your rental or whatever it may be. But it could be something so that they can feel like, number one, they're getting a deal, special deal just for them. Everybody wants to feel like they're getting something. You know what I'm saying? But I just like to be able to know where my ad dollars are being spent and what's working and what doesn't. But there's like you said earlier, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. Just because you may not do something one way doesn't mean that it's not going to work. Um,
Yeah.
let's see.
Well, and like, most of the advertising avenues that we're using, I mean, they use tracking numbers, so they know how many times they call.
Right.
They know call duration. They know where they're from. Um, the phone calls are literally recorded, so I can go back and listen to every phone call. So I know on that side where sales are coming from. Google is kind of the same thing.
Sure.
So if you're going to Google and you're not paying for ads, and people are just clicking on, they go to the map and they find you, well, you can't really track that either. So giving discounts like that, I think, will work if you really, really care about tracking it. I like to know it too, Josh, just like you. But at the end of the day, I'm not willing to pay to know that much, because I guess at the end of the day, I don't care that much where it came from. I just know that other than the ones that are tracked perfectly, it's coming from one of the other ones, right? And if it's an online lead or a Facebook lead where they literally message you on Facebook, well, right? Otherwise, I guess I don't really care. I just know it's working. And to pay, especially for me, to pay $5 a day to sell one dumpster a month, that's paid for, right? That $5 a day for the entire month is paid for with one dumpster.
Sure.
Anything on top of that is just gravy. I do know that with Facebook, from what I've seen, it is giving me enough information to know that it's working. I just don't know how well. So I know a lot of big companies, and you see all the YouTubers with their promo codes and things like that. Even I have one now from Docket. Um, that's how they're tracking where they're getting this stuff. I'm just not so sure how I feel about that. I don't think that I don't think at this point it's something that I want to do. But
So with Google Ads, you can also, so, okay, let's go back to Facebook, how to track without giving discounts. Again, if you have a link or a landing page that would track a customer. Um, I just like tracking. I like to be able to track them one way or the other. With Google Ads or even with Facebook Ads, you can have a specific number, and you can have ghost numbers, right? Different phone numbers that you know that if this number was called, then you got a conversion. Same thing with your SEO or your guy that does, what does he do? He doesn't do Google Ads for you. He does other ads, right? Landing pages or something like that.
yeah, he does landing pages basically.
So I'm sure he
Yep.
uses ghost calls or ghost numbers so that he can track
Yep.
how those people call and how much he needs to charge you. Does he sit there
Yep.
and listen to all the recordings so that he can know what you spent, or do you have to give him a report, or how does that work?
He comes up with a report of what he thinks, and then we verify that through our software. We couldn't really do it very easily without the software.
Right.
And he's generally pretty close. We've found one time that he was off by one, and then the next time we were off by one. But it's kind of a honor system. Um, as I'm not gonna screw the guy because he's helping me, and he's not gonna screw me because he's getting paid,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Um, but yeah, the tracking numbers are the best way to go about it. I've never done paid Google ads, so I don't know exactly how that works. That's something that I'm going to be looking into in the near future and trying probably over the winter, just kind of messing around with. Um, but I guess when you have so many things out there, you just got to hope that the whole conglomeration is working. And it goes
Yep.
back to what you said, putting all your eggs in one basket. If you're doing one thing, it's easy to know where you're getting calls from, right?
Right.
Because if you get a phone call, it's coming from your one advertising thing. If you're doing 100 different things, it's hard to know where they're all coming from. We have a Bing listing, from many years ago. We could get calls from that for all I know. There's no real way to track it,
Well,
and we
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
track it. But just having your company and your phone number out there in 10 different ways is really important. And putting all your eggs in one basket is not a good idea, especially with the Google thing. And we totally cheat, and ours was fine. Now we have two LLCs, so we have two little red bubbles on Google in different towns, and one of them is at our house. like our business address is at our house. Now, people have been doing this for years. This is
Right.
not a new thing. Google's cracked down on it for sure. But we have two different LLCs so that we can be on Google twice. But we didn't get flagged for that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it all works, and I'll probably never understand. And it
No.
changes so fast. No one ever will. But these are things that can happen. You know, what if maybe your check bounced or your check got lost in the mail or your credit card didn't go through with your marketing service? If they don't get payment, they're going to shut you off, and then you're going to be like, why isn't my phone ringing? And other things like that can happen too. Or who knows, people are fraudulent or get hacked. If somebody fraudulently goes into your account or hacks your account, it can mess things up that way too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to talk a little bit about what you mentioned earlier, kind of hit on it. Your the guy that you use to do that. I would just like to warn. I know you obviously found somebody who is good. There's so many people out there though that say they are Google experts, and I'm sure. I mean, all you had to do is be in business for 5 days, and you'll get probably 10 phone calls from people saying, "I'm a sponsored person from Google, and I work directly with Google, and let me do your ads." Just be super careful, and I would only go with somebody who has been referred to you. And just, I mean, there's just a lot of people out there that are that offer that type of service, and all they do is take your money, and they keep your ads. So they run their ads on their own account, which sometimes is okay, but it locks you in to only use them. And as soon as you say, "Hey, I'm done," everything that they've done, they just take, and you own nothing. You own none of your ads, none of your landing pages, none of your phone numbers or anything. So just I would warn. There's some definitely good people out there. And Justin, you have to give me your guy one of these days. But no, I mean, there's some definitely good people out there. Is just be super careful on who you
Yeah,
use.
be very, very careful. And I've been in other businesses for a while, so I've made these mistakes. Getting on the first page of Google, all this crap. Pay for results. Do not give somebody money until they can prove to you that what they're doing is beneficial to you. And this is exactly what we did with this guy. He called us out of the blue. Typical scammer. You're lucky I don't block your phone number and tell you to screw off like I do with all the other ones. But he was insistent. Hey, I'll do it for free for a month. And if you don't like it, no skin off my back. We're good.
Yeah,
He literally proved it for a month, did it for free, showed me how it works, proved that he could do it. We came up with an agreement that we could both agree with, and I'm paying for results. So basically, I'm paying him $20 per sale, which is roughly 5% of total sales. That is a bargain. And he can get me 100 phone calls a month. And if I only rent one of those dumpsters, I pay him $20.
but the work is on you, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to you to make sure you try to convert those customers. And yeah, he did all the legwork, but now it's time for you to convert and actually make that sale
Yes. Yeah.
and follow up.
As with any phone call,
Right.
we don't feel any more or less pressure from his phone call or another phone call. We go through our script, we screen the customers and do what we do just like any other customer. And if they rent from us, they do. And if not,
Hopefully, they save
okay.
your number and call you next time.
Yeah, they usually do call back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of tire kickers and a lot of people that they price shop. They'll call two or three, four different people, and if you're number one on Google, they'll probably call you first. Then they'll call the next three down, and if you're the best deal, they'll call you the fourth or fifth time and book a dumpster.
Yeah. So let's go with a little more of your branding. Give me some examples of what you're branding, what you're doing to brand, other than your awesome truck.
Well, the definition of branding, and I have it right here. The definition of a brand is a name, term, design, symbol, or anything else that identifies a business, either goods or services, from similar goods or services, or, your competitors. So what we've done to, distinguish ourselves from our competitors, number one, giant logos on our dumpsters. Nobody has that. Number two, the truck. That's another one. Number three, our orange dumpsters. And I mean, those are the main things, but that's how we distinguish ourselves from the competitors. Is one of the big things for me is consistency. All of our dumpsters are the same color. All of our logos are basically the same. Some of them are, going to get changed. I do have 2 brown dumpsters that I need to get painted really bad. In the future, all of our trucks are going to be wrapped like this one. All of our employees are going to have the same shirt and the same clothes and, things like that. Consistency is key to branding, but you need to stand out. And I guess, your marketing has to be, on point.
Right.
So you don't want to have 15 different kinds of dumpsters and all different kinds of stickers and all different kinds of trucks and trailers and, things like that. When you get to scale, you want everything to be the same. So if you have a customer, say you have 5 trucks, 100 dumpsters, you have a customer, you sent them an orange dumpster in an orange truck a week ago. And then next week they want another dumpster. Okay. Well, if you show up in a blue truck with a blue dumpster, well, you're not branding properly. That's the way I feel about it. And one of the other notes that I have written down, if you're not branding, you are losing business. I mean, that's one of the highlighted notes that I have written down. If you're not branding your dumpster business, you are losing business to your own customers. So the guy who rented a dumpster from you a year ago, if you don't make an impression on him, he won't even remember who to look up a year later.
Right. 100%.
He won't.
We got to put that a quote right here on the video.
Yeah. I mean, it's important. This is one of my, I thought really hard about that one. Deep thought. But it's true. It's true. It's true. He won't even remember who you were. He'll remember, that one guy. But when he goes and looks you up, if you don't have a recognizable brand and he finds you on the internet, he's just going to quit looking and find somebody else. He's not going to remember even who he hired last time.
How much of a lost opportunity is that, though, right? Because you did all the legwork to gain that customer in the first place, and then you lost the lifetime value of that customer, which is honestly the most value you get from somebody when you take on a new customer, right? Is that lifelong value? Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, and how long you been doing this for? About a year?
Almost October.
Yeah, almost a year. How many repeat customers have you already had?
Surprisingly, it's a lot. I was really surprised at that. Yeah.
A lot. So if they all forgot who you were, how much more money would you be spending on marketing?
Yeah.
I mean, or either that, or how much, how many less rentals would you be renting?
Exactly. No, you're losing money.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And I see so many people making this mistake.
Yeah.
And for years, I mean, there's people, some even on YouTube and Facebook and even in my own towns, they've been in business for so many years and they still don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see me come in and we're expanding and growing and they see our dumpsters all over and they're like, wonder what that guy's doing right. Meanwhile, it's right there the whole time. Right. And they haven't been doing it.
Let me ask you something, man. I haven't applied it in this business, but one of my several years ago in my other business, what I started doing was when people would call and ask for a quote, I stopped giving quotes over the phone. I would give a quote if they really wanted one, but I asked them, could I get their name and number and email, and I would send them a quote via email with pictures. Obviously, this industry, they don't really care about pictures of our dumpsters, but maybe some sort of catch to get them to give us their information so that I can retarget them with emails. It's free information. And most of the time, they're 100% willing to give you their name, their phone number, their email, so we can target them. Do you do any kind of email marketing to your customers? And if so, is it more so than just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's or Happy Thanksgiving, or is there no kind of email
We
marketing right
don't
now?
keep we don't keep any list. And if you're getting a customer on the phone and you're not going to give them a quote
Well,
and
I
you
do.
want
Don't
their
get me wrong.
email
I do,
and
but
their
I want to follow
information,
up by email. I want to
I
follow up
know,
by
but
email.
you just potentially missed out on a sale. You
Mm,
did as a
it depends on
as a
what industry.
telemarketer, as a
Depends on what industry.
telemarketer, yeah, I know, but as a telemarketer, one of the main rules as a telemarketer is to never hang up the phone and never lose the sale.
Ask for the sale.
So you
Yep.
keep them going until they hang up on you. Okay. So when it comes to the dumpsters, you either give them the quote or I guess you just give them the quote. With I've had people with my roofing business try to get quotes. I'll give them rough quotes, but I won't give it to them in writing without seeing something or knowing exact details. But in the dumpster business, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think that's
I guess it
where
wouldn't work. I'm just thinking
it
of
is.
ideas to try to get more information from them, so we can follow up by email long term. I mean, we could
Brand,
send Christmas gifts
brand,
or Christmas emails, huh? Go ahead.
brand. They'll never forget you.
There you
You
go.
don't need their email. You don't need to do a follow up. You can give them business cards or magnets by branding your business and leaving an impression on that customer. You won't need their email for a follow up. When they decide they want a dumpster, they know who they're going to call.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it, and
There
that's
you
not
go.
completely true. And I'm sure it's not 100%. But by doing that, you're way better off than if you
Yeah,
didn't.
it's not that kind of. I guess it's not that kind of industry where, you know, I like to be in front of my customers in my other business because I want to remind them, hey, I've got, it's Christmas season coming up. We're doing Christmas light tours, things like that. Here, they're not going to call you unless they absolutely have to rent that dumpster, unless they absolutely have to clear out that garage, unless they're moving out of their house and they need to clear out their trash. It's not like they're just going to call you because they happen to have seen your email on some random day. So you're 100% right. I was just kind of thinking of a different way for us to um, trap their information or get their information from them. But there's nothing that we can give them. I mean, if they want us, they're going to look for us, and if they need the service, they're going to either call us or they're going to call somebody else. And like you said, if they remember who we are, then that's how we get the win. That's how we get the customer.
Right. Well, and it's a little bit different. Like your business is a limousine, and your main business, and my main business is roofing. So, like if I roof somebody's house, and I keep their email, they're not going to need another roof for 20, 30 years, right? Maybe they need siding or windows or something like that. But again, if you did a good job, they like your service,
They
and you
refer you.
branded to them properly, they're going to call you back, right? With a limousine service, I can see that being a little bit more like, hey, it's, Thursday. You want to take a limo somewhere? It could be a little bit more spur of the moment type thing.
It's
A
different. It's
dumpster can
different for
be
me
spur
because
of the moment,
100%. Yeah,
but
it's
you
just 100%.
need you need a dumpster. You don't get a
Right.
dumpster because you want a dumpster.
Right.
You get a dumpster because you need a dumpster.
Yeah. No, and the way I look at it too, I mean, it's 100% different only because, um, yeah, it's a long story. But in my business, it's not like they absolutely have to have a roof or a dumpster. They can easily go out and find a cheaper vehicle. My vehicles is what sells, is because they're unique. They're one of a kind. So I have to put the pictures and videos out in front of them because if they're just calling me off of Google and they get my phone number, they don't even go on my website to see. They're gonna say, "Holy shit, you're $200 an hour versus Joe over here is only $100 an hour." Well, Joe has a 1998 Lincoln Town Car. I have a 2020 Dodge Challenger with 3 jet doors and all kinds of stuff. So it's 100% different.
Yeah.
I was trying to bring the
It is.
two
It's an
industries kind of
experience.
together, but it just doesn't. It won't work that way.
Yeah. You're selling an experience
Yeah,
with the limos too, which is a little bit different. So it is definitely different. But when somebody calls and wants a dumpster, they either need it now or they're going to need it in the future. They're not calling because they may or may not need one. They're going to need one. They're going to hire somebody to rent a dumpster. Um, it's kind of the same with roofing, but like I said, somebody might need a dumpster once every 2 or 3 years at a normal house, but as far as a roof goes, they're not going to need that every year or 2 years. So if I would recommend, if other people are starting this business with business experience, you have to look at it differently. That's something that I had to learn when we got into this business, because it is a lot different than what I've done in the past. Some of the marketing and branding and advertising things are similar, but the way the business works and the customers are different.
yeah. You've got to take everything into account as far as how the business operates, what works, what doesn't work. We've got some comments here. Let's go ahead. We got a ton of comments here. Um, Let me work my way backwards.
Whatever.
But Lou, what's up, buddy? Lou's on. I talked to him earlier
Oh,
this week, man. Real cool dude.
that's not tearing me apart.
What do you say? Can you see that? He says you can stay in front of them by remarketing those that hit your site. Social media is great for staying in front of those. So that's kind of what we were talking about a little bit earlier about the Facebook retargeting and stuff. Uh, Awesome tool to have if you can figure it out. It's not that hard, and there's a lot of free stuff on YouTube on retargeting. Let's see here. I got a couple. Just buy a brand by On Call Dumpsters. Ooh,
I
there we
don't
go.
think that guy likes me very much.
You don't think he likes your?
Do you read the comment right above that?
Uh, Customer service on the phone. This one? Oh, hold on.
No, from On Call. I'd like to respond to that.
You may as well be talking to Waste Management. Justin X. Oh, so above. Let's skip that.
Come on.
Sorry, I didn't see that, man. No, I mean, look, we're
No,
not
I
here
want
to
to respond. I want to answer that question.
do what you
There was
gotta
no
do,
question
man.
mark, but I saw it.
Go for it.
You may as well be talking to Waste Management. Justin acts so above being a go-getter. You are right there. I am way more than a go-getter.
I need another drink.
And yeah, you're not talking to Waste Management. I'm way better than that. And they're worried about me. And I hope that someday they give me millions and millions of dollars and buy my business.
We've talked about exit strategy. How important is that?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, how important is that to have? I mean, what else are we doing it for, right?
I don't want to die old with a business and not be able to retire or anything like that. So I'm building and growing a business that ultimately will run itself, which it basically already does, and then I can retire and make, a bunch of money off of it. And just, kind of ride off into the sunset and show up every week and find out what's going on and put out a couple of fires. That's about it.
No, no, no drama on the page, man. We'll keep that for the after party, which I don't know if I'm gonna do because I couldn't figure out the Zoom thing. Lou
Yeah.
says, give the quote, stay on the phone as long as you can. The longer, the higher the chance to sell them. I mean, great point. I'm always trying to get off that phone as quick as possible. But very good point, man. I would love to have an office staff, but not yet. So I'm on the phone. I'll book them as soon as I can, as fast as I can. Um, but that's also why I like the online booking too, because honestly, I'll get online bookings. It hasn't. I'd probably say not even. I'd say around 10% of my bookings are done online, um, and without people even calling me, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. I think it's okay. I want it to be a lot more though. I don't want them. I don't want to be taking my time from working to booking. But obviously, I won't. If I don't book, I don't work. So kind of a catch 22. What do you got? You see anything here, Justin? Biggest problem with the Google suspension thing is they have nothing but automated email responses, no actual people to contact. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine so. There's got to be some sort of Google specialist or somebody you can contact, man. I'm sure you've already tried, but I don't know.
There's people out there. You gotta look. You gotta. The people that call you are probably not the people you want to hire. You need to call somebody. The people that are calling you are calling from call centers, robocalling, stuff like that. Those are the people you want to stay away from. Not saying that they won't work, but it's so hard to distinguish the good from the bad. And I've learned this over years, making the mistakes with other businesses. I don't see. I told you guys to ask really hard, good questions. Like, put me on the
Well,
spot here.
I want to address this one more time, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but let me go ahead and talk about this. I agree with Justin, and I do too. Don't get me wrong. We're very competitively priced, and our price is no surprise. The customer knows exactly what they're paying ahead of time. The big companies take a deposit and charge tonnage. Okay, this goes back to the whole paying for a lead or offering a discount. I believe, and I just believe that um, two things, right? Well, you can't manage what you can't measure. And if I'm paying for an ad, I want to know where it's coming from. Okay. I also believe that um, in my prices is built in a cost of acquisition for a customer. And that doesn't matter whether it comes from a Google ad or whether it comes from a Facebook ad or whether it comes from an SEO ad, because at the end of the day, even though SEO is free advertising because your website is on a free platform organically, it doesn't mean I didn't pay at some point or another with my time and or an SEO expert to get the website to rank higher. So with every sale that we do, there's a cost of customer acquisition. And to me, it doesn't matter where it goes, but I like to be able to track it. So whether it be from a discount per se, I don't give everybody discounts, but if I want to be able to track how it goes through a coupon code, then that's a special coupon code for Labor Day or whatever it may be, or Google Analytics, like Lou mentioned, or Facebook Analytics, then that's fine because I'm paying Facebook, I'm paying Google. So I'm not saying give everybody a discount and their mom. All I'm saying is my point was that with built into your cost is that customer acquisition. And when you get your neighbor, that I just got my neighbor from across the street booked me for a 7 day on my 20 yard, there was no cost. Well, there was a cost. Don't get me wrong. There was a cost of my branding because he saw my dumpsters in my driveway. So there's always a
I
cost.
agree. I completely agree. I don't do discounts, but everything else that you said, if somebody really wants to know, in some cases, I think that's really the only way you can go about it. Um, and like you said, like you should have cost of acquisition in your price. For us, it's roughly 5%. 5% of our total business, total gross business, goes to marketing. That's or
5%
advertising,
total.
whatever you. This is before branding and wrapping trucks, T-shirts, stickers on the dumpsters, blah blah blah. This is strictly advertising. Is 5% of our total business. So if we do, $100,000 a year, it'd be $5,000 we would spend a year in advertising. If it's 200,000, 10,000. And that can, go up or down depending on, your market and how long you've been in business, how many dumpsters you have, etc.
Oh yeah, yeah, for
But I
sure.
think that's kind of a good rule of thumb, roughly 5%. And, if you're just starting, you may want to start with doing 10%, I think, or maybe even 15, until you get that initial kind of customer base built up. But at a minimum, 5%. If you're not spending 5% of your total sales, probably not going to be good.
Yeah, 5% is actually good. I mean, it's a good number. Wait, I clicked the wrong one. Sorry. Josh, you talk to any of your customers at delivery or pickup? Yeah, all the time. I mean, all the time. They always come up. I mean, all the guys always like to watch how the dumpster rolls. Dude, I gotta talk to you what happened today. I didn't record it, but I put the truck in neutral, and it was on a little bit of an incline. It was on grass, so I thought the dumpster was gonna be nice and heavy on the grass, and it was gonna hold the dumpster, and it did not. The whole thing rolled, and it was a mobile home, and I almost put a new garage door into the side of the mobile home. It was not good, man. There was a big bush that actually stopped the dumpster, and I thought I was going to do my first claim on insurance, man. It was nuts. It
Oh
was nuts.
God.
I wish I would have recorded it, but then again, I don't because you guys would probably be laughing at me. But I mean, it
You
shows you. I
need
mean, shit
you need a
happens.
wireless remote.
I lost. I
That
did.
way
I
you
had
can
one. I
sit
had it
in
since
the
May. I
truck.
lost it.
Well, why aren't you in the truck when it's in neutral? You don't put it in the neutral and then get out of the truck.
Oh,
We
we'll
don't
talk
do
about
that.
that later. I
We
definitely
don't
get out
do
of the
that.
truck and put it in neutral. Um, but yeah, I talk to the customers all the time. They always want to see the dumpsters come off and how the trailers work. They always want to talk about house business, all that
People
stuff. So
people always say about ours, that is so cool. I've never seen anything like that.
yeah,
I was expecting like a big truck,
yeah,
and when we show up, like, I mean, kids got to watch it. People get their phone out and, put it on Facebook. And, I mean, people are really appreciative of our equipment for better or for worse. Some of the people who've been around it trash talk it and, say, oh, that thing is just a, you know, blah blah blah. That can't pick up crap, you know.
yeah.
But other people really appreciate it. They really think it's cool.
It
I'd
is pretty
say,
neat.
I
It's
don't know,
still hard
one
to.
out of five customers compliments it.
Oh yeah, I'd say almost. I'd say almost all of them. Like they're almost always out there. I mean, if they're home, they're out there watching because they just want to see how
Yeah.
it works too. It's not like it's no pressure, right? I mean, you got somebody right over your shoulder, and at first it was like, oh my god, this guy's watching me like a hawk. But I think it's not because they're watching us. They just want to see how it all works. So Dwayne
Yeah.
asked, what about Angie's List, bro? You want to tell him or should I?
Well, they just rebranded because they've defrauded so many people. It's now called Angie. Just so you know. Just so you know. It's called Angie. They rebranded. Um, I wouldn't recommend them to my worst enemy or home advisor, whichever. I think they own each other now.
Would you recommend him to
One
the
of them
other guy
owns
in
the
the
other one.
comments?
What's that?
Never mind. I'll leave that one alone.
Oh,
I'll leave that one
he
alone.
he's not my worst enemy. I don't know how I'm considered anything like waste management.
Nah, man. All right. So
I
personally, I'm
know
speaking
that.
with Justin. In speaking with Justin, I can tell that he isn't a yes man. He thinks for himself and tell you what he believes based on experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
Justin is a good dude. Let me tell you guys, man. So Justin is probably one of the first guys that I've talked to. Uh, Second guy, I talked to Brock probably right away when I first started doing YouTube. Justin's the second guy. I mean, we recently started talking, but bro, like I think I've developed a friendship with him, and definitely somebody that I'd like to have. I want to meet in person. I want to sit down. I want to have several beers. I think I don't know if he can outdrink me or I can outdrink him, but I'd like to see who can do what, and just have a good time, man. It seems like we can, it's people like that. We're all people, we're all just um, trying to make money. So I'm not
Yeah.
about trashing anybody, trash talking anybody whatsoever.
No, and like I don't have family in Texas, so I'm never down by you. But you've been in Wisconsin a few times, I've heard, and I didn't get any phone calls.
It's
Yeah.
been a while since I haven't gone. I try not. When I go over there, I want to leave as fast as possible, man.
Yeah.
Fast as possible. Usually cold. It's just too cold. What else do we got? We got any other good questions in here? So Angela, this home advisor,
I think HHP had one. HHP just had one I saw.
where's he at?
It's up a little bit.
But Angie's List home advisor, no. Tommy, while you're looking for that one, Justin, Tommy says if the customer
I
doesn't
got
book
it. I
online,
got it.
if the customer doesn't book online,
So HHP says um
you there? Oh, I think you froze, Justin. There you go.
yeah, I can hear you.
You're back. You're back.
HH HHP says, if you're growing the dumpster business, Justin and Josh, by putting all the money into it to grow it and not taking in any out to pay yourself, could you do the business without the roofing or limousine business and pay the bills? That's a really good question.
That is.
Now, I didn't start my business from scratch. Okay. I want everybody to know that on call, I don't know. Anyone who's watched my channel for a while knows that. I did not start it from scratch. Now, when I took it over, my intention was to never run the business myself. Right. So, like, getting off topic a little bit, you have to make sure that you have in mind what your intentions are when you take over or start a business like this. Obviously, if you're starting a business like this, you're either going to need to find somebody who's competent and capable of doing it, or you're going to have to do it yourself. Now, we did a little bit of both. My wife and myself ran the business kind of part-time between the two of us, juggling between that and other businesses. Could it have paid the bills at first? Yes, but we would have had to work at it full time. That was not my intention. My intention was to buy it, take it over, grow it into something that would make crap loads of money, not a living. But the answer on my side is yes. I could have quit my job the day that I bought Greenhead and gotten to 20, 25 dumpsters and just rode that out. But I didn't want to replace a job with a job per se. I wanted to get the business to the point where I could work for it full time and it would pay me, a good wage, or I could grow it to a point where I could just be more or less a management role in the business and make money that way. Now, we're not there yet where I can do that, but that's one thing I regret with my roofing business that I never did is I never empowered and motivated and allowed people to run that business without me. I was always such a big part of the business that I was the business. And that's exactly what I don't want to do with the dumpster business.
So I don't think you have anything to explain as far as you owning a business or buying a business that was already kind of established. That's neither here nor there. It's what you've done with the business once you bought it that's important. So for somebody to even imply that you're not as much or whatever, or your input isn't even valued because of that is zero, in my opinion. If anything, you can bring something else to the table as far as acquiring a business that's already kind of been established and how it was valued and all that stuff. That's a whole nother side of business that has so that's in my opinion that's null and void. But as far as what you talked about with what was the original question? Oh, okay. So as far as like starting the business, like owning the business and having another business, would I be able to take a check? So yes and no. Like me personally, I have other incomes than just the two businesses. So I can probably live without a paycheck here and there. But I started this business as an experiment, and I started very, very low. So my cost of entry was extremely low. It was only $4,000 something dollars to buy that first trailer. And everything that I bought so far has been completely separate. I haven't taken any money from personal or another business to put into this business. I've put from what I've sold the trailers. I've worked my way up from cargo to dump to roll off, and now I'm going to be going hopefully to a truck soon. So my point is that if I could do it now, I didn't pay myself a check, but I also wasn't working full time to begin with, and I'm still not working full time. So if you're doing what I'm doing, if you're doing what the way I kind of started, you're not going to go from 0 to 100 in a matter of a month. So you've got to be able to still probably hopefully work your full time job and do this on the side to start. If you're going to start with 1, 2, 3 dump trailers or dumpsters, you I mean, even if you buy not your business, but even if you buy, let's say, a roll off package with 10, 15 dumpsters, those are not going to all be running immediately. So you should have some sort of, hopefully, other kind of income coming in to help you sustain it. Now, am I getting to the point where I can pay myself? I absolutely can. and kind of have already. But I still decided to, instead of paying myself money, I reinvested quicker than probably somebody else who would need the money up front or need the money right away to help pay some bills. So so yeah, I paid all those 6 dumpsters. I paid those 100% from the business instead of having to finance it like I did half the trailer, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I look at it. Um, it's still not a full time job for me. It's not 40, 50 hours. It's not. So hopefully I'll get there.
Well, and here's the way I look at it, and I think you understand it the same way. Not everybody's able to do this, but the way I look at it is my payment is equity. Okay. And by equity, I mean in your case and my case. So you didn't take a paycheck or what you maybe have deserved from your business. You put that money into equipment. Well, that equipment is worth money. So you have paid yourself, just not in the normal sense of a paycheck or cash money. You have assets, and those assets will make you more money in the future. And by not paying yourself, you have bought more assets that will pay you more in the future.
Absolutely.
Um, Now, that's the way that I look at it. So this is something that, in my case, if I would have taken over this business and paid myself a living wage, I wouldn't have been able to grow the way that I have. Now, I have taken on debt to do that, but the reason I took on debt was to grow now, not 1 dumpster a month that I could buy cash. I wanted 10 now, and then I'll take the payment and triple it every month. So I'll pay off a dumpster every single month. But those 10 dumpsters that I got right now, based on debt, paid for themselves, in an entire year versus buying 1 or 2 at a time. It would have made it, less profitable, I guess, in the long run. So I'm basically just speeding up that process by using debt. And I'm just getting paid in equity. My business is worth 2 or 3 times what it was when I bought it, but I haven't taken a dime, you know. But
Yeah.
you're talking 6 figures. It's worth 6 figures more if I was just to sell the equipment today than it was, a year ago. Um,
And that's it right there.
that's
I
my
mean,
paycheck.
same here. I mean, when I looked at my dump trailer or my dumpster or my roll off trailer and my dumpsters, if I sold today, I could walk away with $70,000 as it is
Yeah,
without anything else, just in
from
the
four
equipment.
thousand,
Exactly.
from the
Exactly.
initial 4,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In less than a year.
So
So
yeah, I mean you're talking.
sorry about sorry about the
Yeah,
applause. I didn't mean to clap. I don't know, but all right. Scott asked a question
yeah,
that gets
but
asked
you're.
a lot, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna answer Scott's question with your wife's response, which is hit the nail on the head. And it gets asked this all the time. How many dumpsters at a minimum would you both feel really starts to make a good money to support the business and personal income? And her response was, boom. I think the first question you need to ask yourself is how much money do I need to profit to live the same life that I live today? And that's 100% correct in my opinion. Like, and it all depends. Everybody's answer is different to that question, because you could be living in New York and paying $3,000 for a 1 bedroom studio, or you could be living in Texas for 3 grand and living in, well, not now, not after all those California people moved over here, but you could be living in a decent house, right, for 3 grand a month, right, or a very very nice house. So it just really kind of depends on you. Where do you need to be at? What number do you need to be at so that you can afford your life the way you've been living it, supporting your family, and then you work your way backwards from there as far as, okay, then to make that number, whether it be $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year, you say, okay, well, how much does one can make me? How much does one dump trailer dumpster make me? How much can I make if I only rent it out 2 times a week versus maybe 3 times or just 1 time? Worst case scenario, if you can't rent, worst case scenario, how many times do you have to rent that dumpster out, or how many dumpsters would you need so that you can afford the lifestyle that you currently live, plus hopefully make a little bit of profit for your business.
I I think, well, and I tell everybody because you hear all these people about these 1 day rentals. I can get 10 dumpsters and I can rent them all once, 5 times a week each. That's 50 dumpster rentals in a week. You don't understand how much marketing and time that's going to take. And if you have 10 dumpsters and you're going to do all 1-day rentals and rent all 10 every single day, you're going to need 2 employees. You can't
Yeah,
do
you're
that by
not
yourself.
running daily. No,
You're
that's way
not.
too much.
So whether that dumpster sits there for a week, a month, or 1 hour, you're going to make the same amount of money off of it as you would vice versa. Whether it's there a month or a week, that dumpster is going to make you money. So I think if you're going to get into this and do it yourself, I think to make 50 grand a year, you need 10 dumpsters doing 1 week rentals, and you need to turn those every single week. So that means you would turn 10 dumpsters a week every single month of the year, or every week of the year. At minimum. Now, depending on where you live, you're going to have, busy times, slow times, whatever. If you can rent them for a day, by all means, please do. But leaving them out for a week, you're going to find a lot of your customers are going to want it for more than a day. And you're going to make the same amount of money. So if you have 10 and you can leave them all out once a week and just flip all 10 every single week, you can make a good living doing that.
And everything else is just icing on the cake. If you can turn around and one customer only needs it for 3 days, and you can actually do another 1 day or 2 day or 3 day in between, then great. That's just icing on the cake, and you don't have to actually.
Yeah.
You're not like relying on that. So just kind of.
Or you get it out on the next 7-day rental 3 days sooner.
Exactly.
So either way, you're benefiting from those shorter term rentals, but don't get set in your mind that that's how it's going to work, because it's just, I don't know. There's people out there that claim they do it. If I was doing 1-day rentals, I would be bankrupt like 10 minutes after I started.
Oh, I do 1 day, just not like it's not regularly. Most people want
Not
with
often,
me.
not enough to sustain your business.
Well, no, it's just too much. Now that I have more cans, it's not even realistic because I can't run 12 cans 1 day. There's no, I can't touch cans that many times that quick. So I'll have maybe 1 or 2 1 days here and there, and then the majority want 3 to 5, and then the 7 days I'm even happier I'm happy when I get a 7 day because I don't have to worry about the dumpster for a whole nother week, and I can actually do my other ones. You know what I'm saying? So it really helps, and I think the more cans I have, if I want to continue to do it as much as I can by myself, then I'm going to have to eventually kind of move over to they all need to go to 7 days or more. So Lou talked about 6 months reserves. I want to touch on that just a little bit because I never realized how important that was until COVID happened. And, how glad I was that my other business did have some sort of reserves. And it wasn't intentional. It was just kind of we saved over the years. And we had money that when the shit hit the fan, we were able to survive and not have to wait for the government bailout or the PPP programs and the EIDLs and all that stuff. So, but it takes people a long time to get here to 6 months reserves. And I wouldn't, yes, you want 6 months reserves, but you also will need to make money now. And I'm not disagreeing with it at all. I just think that this is going to be more of a long-term goal to kind of look forward to. It's just really hard for people that are just starting to think about 6 months. It took me probably more than 5, 6, 7 years just to be able to save enough money to have reserves. So I should have done it sooner. And now that COVID hit, now I really know people we really need to take it seriously and do that. It's really important. You got anything?
Yeah, as far as the reserve thing goes, that's a touchy one too, because if your business is keeping 6 months of reserves, you're paying taxes on that money that you have sitting there, which is, in my opinion, unprofessional or not very smart. That money should be in something that's tax deductible, maybe your own pocket, because by paying yourself that 6 months of cash, you're going to pay 15% on taxes versus 30% your business may pay. What we do is not everybody can do this either, but we have an open line of credit. So if we ever need money, we have it there. Make sure you have assets, hard assets that you can sell. You want 6 months reserve, buy an extra truck and let it sit there. don't even use it. Okay, it's tax deductible. You can depreciate it. You can do whatever you want with the dang truck. But if crap hits the fan and you need cash, you can sell those assets. Now, a lot of people would say that a truck isn't an asset, and I agree, but it has cash value at the end of the day. So a $20,000 truck and you need $15,000 quick, you put it on Craigslist for $15,000, somebody's going to buy it, right? You might not get exactly what you want, but you're going to get that money. But I would recommend that as a new business, especially if you don't understand taxes and accounting and stuff like that, don't leave a whole bunch of cash in your business because Uncle Sam is going to bend you over.
So Lou says you're an asset.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. You'll find out the hard way. I have too. You're like, yeah, I have 30 grand in the bank at the end of the year. And then Uncle Sam says, yeah, 10 of that's mine. Yeah. When you could have bought a $30,000 truck, let it sit there, and Uncle Sam would have been like, okay.
So Tom makes a good point, and I honestly, I 100% agree with this. Is that low numbers of cans or trailers probably mean shorter rentals. More cans you have, the longer you can go. I think if you only work with one or two dump trailers and you're trying to get into the game, yeah, you want to turn those dump trailers or those cans as much as you possibly can. So offering even load and goes, where you're sitting there for an hour, you're saving time going back and forth and doing a second trip. If you got the time, there's nothing wrong with that, and just a little bit cheaper, whether it be just $20 cheaper than your one day, or $20 cheaper than your next step up would be your one day would be $20 cheaper than your 3 day or 2 day or whatever. But I wouldn't give much of a discount at all because you're still doing all the work, but you're saving the gas and the time from doing a second trip. Yes, I agree, Tom, 100%. If you have less one, two, three cans or dumpsters or dump trailers, yeah, flip them as much as you possibly can. Offer those 1 days, and get as many of those as you can in a week, so you can try to make more money off of it.
I totally agree too. Like if you only have a few dumpsters, try to make as much as you possibly can with those few dumpsters. But at the end of the day, don't pass up the longer term rentals because then you may be missing out. It really depends on the volume of calls you're getting, the customers that you have, um, you know, and kind of how you're advertising and stuff like that. But definitely, if you can get the 1 days, do as many as you possibly want. I'm just saying, if you're getting into this business and starting, don't expect that. In my experience, that's not reality. I think that we could keep 2 or 3 dumpsters running on 1 or 2 day rentals, but not any more than that.
No, like I said, especially once you get way more, it's not logistically even possible going. How many cans can you, what on average, how many cans can you touch per day, going to and from a landfill or to and from drop offs and deliveries?
With one driver, we can do about 4 total per day. That's
Yeah.
like 7 to 3. That's going and picking up a full one, taking it to the dump, dropping it at a customer, picking up another full one, dropping it at the dump, and so on and so forth. We can do 4 per truck.
And that's hopefully if you're not somehow stuck in traffic, if you don't get stuck at the landfill or the transfer station, if you don't, you know, ram your dumpster into the side of a mobile home.
Yeah,
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen. But yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
was gonna say I could
Well,
do. Yesterday I did 5, but I didn't dump them all at one time. I didn't dump them all either, though. I had several empty ones that I was able to deliver.
yeah.
But my radius is a little bit farther too. So as your business grows, you will do more things to make your company more efficient, to make your time more efficient. So whether it be bringing in that radius a little bit tighter and staying a little bit closer, or longer term rentals, or there's just a lot of different ways you can kind of adjust your company. It's always kind of just learning, in my opinion, on where your company is moving towards or gravitating towards, and trying to adjust. Now that you have a gas and diesel truck,
Yeah, and
Justin
like
from H&H, which one is better to haul your dumpsters?
They both do really, really well. If I'll be buying another one, and I'll buy a gas. Now, diesel is superior. I agree. Um, the maintenance on diesel is more. The fuel cost for diesel is more. Plus, DEF fluid, and they cost like 10 grand out of the box to buy. So I'm buying trucks at this point. Once they get 150, 200,000 miles, they're gone. So I don't really care about longevity. I don't care. When the warranty's out, they're gone. That's my
So
opinion.
your next truck
If
is
I was to
what?
buy one truck and keep it forever, I'd buy a diesel. But that's not where I'm at. That's not the way that I look at it. So, yes, diesel's better. No, I will not buy a diesel this next time. Not unless I get a hell of a deal.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I was reading the comment. Your next truck is going to be a what? A gas?
I said diesel is superior for sure. But my next truck will not be a diesel.
It will. Okay. Boom, boom. You heard it
Because
here first, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah, it won't be. If you're gonna buy one truck and you're gonna keep it for a long time, buy a diesel. If I get a really good deal on one or something like that, I'll buy one. But otherwise, when the warranty's up, they're gone. I'll move on to the next one. I mean, I got a buddy who says he buys new trucks like every year, and he says, I hate changing tires. So when the tires wear out on his truck, he goes and gets a new one. And
the stock tires?
He doesn't, people think that you just lose $10,000 driving off the lot. That's not true. That's not completely true. When you sell them on the private market, when you sell them on the private market, you're going to lose $5,000, maybe 10. But you put 20, 30,000 miles on the thing. You did no maintenance. You didn't even put freaking brakes and tires on the thing. Yeah. So what are you complaining about?
I don't know. I put 20,000 miles on my truck pretty daggone quick. And those factory tires, they don't usually last longer than 20,000 miles, it seems like. They're kind of garbage.
No. I mean, our wrap truck has almost 30,000 on it. And we don't even drive that thing full time. We pile the miles on the diesel because it's older and we're going to get rid of it. Not because it's a bad truck, but because we want to get rid of it at that sweet spot where it's still valuable on the resale. It's not completely destroyed, and we can trade it in and, get something, similar, and just kind of move on.
Yeah.
But that's the way that we're looking at it. And I look at the vehicles. Yes, they're important. Yes, they're integral to the business, but they're a tax write-off they're the biggest tax write-off I have. Other than like employees and, other things, similar to that, insurance but the vehicles are the biggest tax write-off. So I want to keep nice vehicles so that I can maintain my brand, number one, and I don't have to pay for maintenance.
Less headaches.
Other than brakes and tires, because everything's under warranty. So I have nothing to worry about. I don't have to worry, my engine's going to blow. I got to keep 10 grand on the side for an engine. No, I have a warranty.
Yep. Agreed. Z71 Grizzly. I don't even know what the super chat's all about, but whatever. Hopefully we'll take it. Hey guys, I've been running my business since late 2020 and my dad is financing most of it. I haven't paid him back the full amount yet, but work here in Central Texas is showing me that I need more bins. What do I do?
So talk to your dad and get more money.
Huh?
I said talk to your dad and get more money.
Or try to get financing on your own. But so he's been financing it since late 2020, so you're almost at a year and you haven't paid him back yet. So if he's willing to give you more money, take it. But I can't stand owing anybody money, and I like to pay him back as soon as I possibly can. Being the most profitable with what you have right now and paying off those cans as fast as possible, that's probably what I would. That might not be the answer you're looking for, but I just don't like owing anybody money, and that way it's 100% yours. But if he's got more money or you can get the financing yourself for the cans, there's nothing that will stop you from going and getting your financing for the extra cans. It's not as much of an investment as the trailer and stuff, but I don't know.
I completely agree. And I mean, my dad doesn't give me anything, but my bank does. And I have been nonstop since I started this business on the phone with my bank. Um, I
Let's talk
haven't
about
paid it
that though.
all
Do
off
you go to a
either.
local bank or do you have like a banker or a lender who's like specific in the industry?
No, a local bank.
Local bank. Okay.
A local bank. I've done a lot of work with them with real estate. Um, so I have a good reputation and rapport with them. But ever since I've started, I've just added debt, paid off debt, added debt, paid off debt, added debt, paid off debt, added debt. I mean, as fast as I could. I literally bought this business with 11 dumpsters. In the first week, I bought a 12th dumpster because in the first week with 11 dumpsters, I knew that I needed more. Right. And it
Yeah.
sounds like he's in kind of the same boat. Do anything and everything you can if you're willing to hustle and work for it and you can make it happen and the market's telling you to get more dumpsters, do it. No better time than the present.
There you go. There you go. Do it. Just pay Pops back because he wants that money back.
Yeah.
He
Well, he
wants that
said
money
he
back.
hadn't paid him all of it back. He said, so he's insinuating he's paid at least some, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
That's the
you're
way I
right.
read it.
You're right. Pay him some interest. But yeah, if you
Yeah.
get more cans, you'll be able
Yeah.
to pay quicker.
Yeah.
A couple
Maybe
more,
buy
man.
your
Are you
dad
getting?
a dumpster for his birthday.
Huh?
I said maybe he could buy his dad a dumpster for his birthday or something, you know?
Right? Is it too bold to call the customer on a 7-day rental and ask if they're done with it? We tell them if they are done early, call us and we can come get it. But how about the other way around? Would you call a customer and
If
ask them
they
if they're done
don't
with it?
call us, yeah, if they don't call us, we're going to pick it up.
But would you call them
So
early,
we
like
tell
on a?
them on the seventh day, there's no warning. On the seventh day, if we don't hear from you, we're going to come and get it.
Yeah, yeah. I have yet to call a customer and ask them to end their rental early. I just make sure that hopefully I'll be able to book it right away once they're done. But if you're at that point that you need to call your customer and tell them to come pick it up early, I would suggest buy more cans. Buy more cans. This gets asked a lot, but how do most of y'all price 30-day rentals? Let's say 2 dumps included.
Well, for us with 2 dumps, I would charge them my main fee times 2 for 7 days, and then $10 a day each. So, say my dumpster was $400 for one dump for 1 week, it would be $470 for 2 weeks. And if they dumped it once and then had it for 2 more weeks, and I dumped it again, it'd be $470
At
again.
what time? At what point do you stop that $10? Do they just keep going as long as they want it?
At this point, I don't care. They can
You got
have
a
it
lot
for
of
the
cans.
rest of their lives. Yeah,
Yeah,
they can have it for the rest of their lives as long as they pay.
yeah,
That $10 a day doesn't cost me anything.
yeah.
You know,
It's really different with what situation you're in because when I only had 3, and I'm turning down customers a $400 rental because this guy's keeping it for $10 extra, that hurts the bank. But when you have a lot more cans, you're able and you're more flexible to be able to do stuff like that, which um, just kind of depends
and
on
I
the
think
situation.
that's everybody's goal, but you have to look at who you're competing against. Um, if you want to scale your business and compete against these big guys, you have to in some aspect be able to do that. Um, we're in a service industry, so telling a customer no, there's nothing wrong with that, but we don't want to tell a customer no. If they want a dumpster for 3 weeks and they're willing to pay for it, then we should be able to provide that. And like you were saying, it's really no extra work to leave a dumpster out for 3 weeks. We make more money off of that specific dumpster, and we still only have to drop it off and pick it up one time.
Right.
So by adding more dumpsters and being able to do that makes us more money with essentially the same amount of employees or the same amount of equipment, just by doing those longer term rentals. It goes back to having 10 dumpsters and doing all 1 day rentals 5 days a week. You're going to need
Impossible.
freaking 2 or 3 trucks and 2 employees to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to need 50 rentals a week
Yeah.
to do that. And Matt, you won't even be able to keep up with the phone. I don't even do 50 rentals a week
No, it's
with
impossible.
40 dumpsters. I don't do that. So good luck. I mean, if you can do that, that's freaking awesome. But that is a whole nother business than anything I don't even know what to say about that. I don't understand how anyone could do that.
It's impossible. Not that many for sure. King Cashin says, "Can you do a video on creating an ad campaign for dumpster rentals?" King, I don't know about Justin, but what I plan on doing is on the membership on YouTube. If you join the membership, I've done 2 videos, I believe, so far. The last one was Google My Business and how to get it to rank higher. I'm not doing that on the YouTube, but I am doing it on the YouTube membership. It's like a small fee a month, but it's pretty valuable. And I plan on doing more ad campaigns. But Justin, do you want to tackle any of those?
That's just a really hard subject to talk about.
Very hard.
It really is. I get this question all the time, and there's so many ways I can answer it. I just don't know how to answer it. I mean, and that's just the honest God truth. I'm hardly ever at a loss for words. Um, if you ask me a question, I almost always have an answer, whether it's right or wrong. And when it comes to that question, I don't really have an answer.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that I just don't know properly how to answer. I can tell you my experience and what I do, but that might not work for you, you know, and you might not like what I have to say.
So actually, let me come back to this question. Lou did make a good point here. Google does offer a free certification course. Take it direct to Google. Google offers an entire like suite of courses. Good night, bro. Love you. An entire suite of courses, and it's all 100% free. Now, just drink a lot of coffee because I've done 1 or 2 of them, and
Yeah.
they're pretty long and boring. But they're very informative, and it comes straight from Google. It's not BS. Some sales guy trying to tell you something. It's comes straight from Google on their best tips and tricks, and not even tricks because it's just how to do it correctly so that Google can so that you can rank higher in Google. Plain and simple. So very good point. Let me go back to that other question. Good idea to buy a 3500 dually or just stay with a 2500. 3500 dually, it depends. If you have a CDL um, and DOT, we'll touch on that a little bit. But you're going to go overweight here in Texas. It all depends on where you're at. If you stay with a 2500, that will keep you under. So just kind of depends whether you want a bigger truck. Do you think a 3500 would make you haul the 20 yarders better than 2500?
I don't know why everybody wants to get a dually and a gooseneck. I don't understand. Um, a 3500 is great. I don't know why you need a
Overkill.
dually. Yeah, I don't know why you need a dually. And I mean, you even said it in some of your videos. Like, what are the actual benefits of a gooseneck? Yes, they might distribute the weight a little bit differently, but ultimately you're hauling the same weight on the same truck. So either the truck is able to do it or it's not. I think a 3500 is, what you should if you're going to do this, full time. 2500 can do it. I mean, I have a 250 that we've hauled, heavy dumpsters with, and it hauls it just fine. I think at 3500, the price is basically the same. Your fuel mileage is basically the same. It's basically the same truck, but I don't think you need a dually.
No. And I'll tell you why I went with gooseneck because I've always driven bumper pulls, always, always, always. And I just thought that a gooseneck could get me into tighter situations easier than a bumper pull. And I think it kind of does once you really know how to work it. I'm
Yeah.
not there yet. I've gotten 90 degrees several times, a lot of times, but could I have gotten it with a bumper pull? I probably could have it. So is it more necessary? I don't really think so. I just thought that you would be able to haul heavier with a gooseneck too when I first got it.
From the research I've done with the gooseneck or the bumper pull, the weight isn't really, most of your weight's on the trailer. You have a dual axle trailer just like I do. Most of your weight is on the trailer, depending on how the load is and stuff like that. Now you can turn slightly sharper with that, but that being said, if you're just backing into a driveway with a trailer, that's one thing. But when you're lining up a dumpster and you're 90 degrees, you can't freaking see and line up the dumpster when you're on that angle without getting out and stuff like that. So yeah, you can get into a tighter spot, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's unnecessary. I don't think a dually is necessary. And to your point, do you have a CDL? Because any 3500 dually that I know is going to be 12 to 16K GVWR.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with a 10K trailer,
Yeah.
Um,
Well, on that note, man, I think we're just about time. I'll tell you, one of the worst drop offs for me though are always going to be the back driveway alleys in the subdivisions where there's like a wall on the other side of the alley, or a fence. It's probably literally the hardest drop offs that we have. So I don't know. That's probably the only time I ever really need to really turn it really sharp. Otherwise, most front driveways, I don't care if I'm blocking half the street or sometimes you got to block the whole street, but um, you're in and out in 6 minutes nowadays. Now that you know what you're doing, probably 6 to 7 minutes, you can get in and out. So it's just hard in those driveways, man, or those alleys. All right, I think I'm gonna call it, man. I think we're done. This is a much longer than it's ever been. So, Justin, man, any final parting words?
no, just thank everybody for being here.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Thank you
Yeah,
guys
and
all
we'll
for
do it
joining. Don't
again.
forget to smash that like button, subscribe. Go over to Justin's Life's Apprentice page. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, smash the notification bells on both. It makes our time worth it. It makes us continue to come out here and do these things for you guys. Because honestly, I mean, it's time consuming, but I love seeing the comments. I love seeing the success stories, man. At the end of the day, I mean, that's kind of why we do it. So,
Absolutely. That's exactly why I do this.
amen.
Um, yeah, I mean, I love the haters and I love everybody else too. And if you guys ever have questions for me or Josh, our emails are on our page. Leave a comment. You still answer all your comments. I answer all the questions, all my comments to the best of my knowledge. That's why I do this. That's why I did it. The little bit of money that Google or YouTube pays me is just a bonus, and I appreciate everyone who subscribed and watched and came here tonight and hung out with us. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Hey, if you want the hat, this side. If you want the hat, send me an email, AmericanAFDumpsters@gmail.com. Like I said, I got a box of like 5. I think only 5 left. So I'm ordering the next one. I'm going to do this white camo. It's going to be sick looking. We'll see you guys. And it's not even dumpster related. I keep turning the wrong way. It's not even dumpster, just AF, American AF. So, anyways, guys, we will see you guys on the next one. Thanks, Justin, brother.
See ya.